Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's the live AV Tech podcast, and we are experiencing technical difficulties. Yay! We've had some issues with CPUs overheating, and we're probably dropping frames out there as we speak. So we're going to have to figure out a good way of cooling down these MacBook Pros, and so that the thing doesn't go into a protect mode. It shuts down part of the CPU. Here, I'll switch over here. You can see my attempt at a fix. I have a Gatorade bottle full of ice down here, trying to cool this darn thing down. Try anything, but oh well, we're here. We're doing this thing.
Okay.
Our guest today is Tony Holt. He's a video director out of the Nashville area. He's a guy I've worked with on a couple of gigs, and he's a very skilled individual. I'm really excited to talk to him about what he's doing and how he does it. But first, we have a panel of very fine gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and bring them live to the thing here. Hello, gentlemen. How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
So in that top left corner is Mr. Rod Chestnut, camera operator here in town. What's going on, Rod? How you been? I believe you were mentioning you doing a little bit of fishing.
I've been doing a lot of fishing since March 4th was like my last actual day. Yeah. Life wasn't hard enough, so I got a fly rod, trying to learn fly fishing.
Yeah.
And then I got really difficult with a bait caster, the professional little reel. That just drives me nuts. But looking at other odd jobs here and there. Got a few lined up. I'm going to be an election judge here soon for the runoff. Yeah.
Goodness. That's crazy stuff.
That's a lot of training for two people.
Below Rod is Mr. Terrell Wright. He is a business owner and video guy. Terrell, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How's everyone doing?
Good to see you, man.
Likewise.
I think we're all doing pretty good, despite the weirdness, right? How is life with a small business in this environment? How's that working out, Terrell? You getting some gigs out there? You moving some gigs?
It's a little challenging. One thing for sure, it forces you to get creative. So you have to come up with different ideas and different ways to present and sell your services, and kind of adjust them to what's going on in today's society, or what we have going on with this COVID-19. But It sucks, man. It sucks.
And then next to him is Mr. Steve Guidry, EIC video guy around town. One of the most skilled people I know. Steve, how you doing, man?
Life is good. I'll jump into your second question. What have I been doing? A long time ago, a fellow told me that the key to happiness in life is to find something you enjoy doing, and then find somebody to pay you to do it. So, you guys may know one of my passions is sailing. And I've connected with a couple of peer-to-peer situations online, and I'm actually taking some charters out these days. So life is good.
Peer-to-peer. Is that you sail them from one pier to another pier?
That's it.
Is it like Grapevine or the Caribbean Sea?
No, it's Grapevine right now. We got a trip for the Caribbean planned in 2021, but nothing before then.
Yes, it was a 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour.
It'd take 3 hours to get around Lake Grapevine. Yeah, sure.
I just noticed
that was funny right there.
pegging pegging the audio a little bit. I got to fix that. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. We're gonna go talk to our buddy Tony here now, but I got to hit the right buttons. Wow. Okay. Oh yeah. The system is freaking out, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, my single shot went away, and it's all Zoom. Oh, it's right here. That's why. I didn't do the Zoom. I didn't do the NDI one. I did this one, so I gotta switch over to me like this. Hi. So our guest is Tony Holt. He's a brilliant video director. I got to work with him a couple of times doing some really complex stuff, and he handled the client and handled the everything in a way that just amazed me. And so I wanted to bring him on as a guest. Keep looking at the wrong camera. It's this one now because I got all this stuff in the way. I wanted to bring him in as a guest and let you guys get to know him because it's a pretty cool deal. So I'm gonna bring him on. Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mickey, how's it going?
It's going fine. I got to change your audio over here now.
I was kind of yelling there a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm glad you're here too. I just gotta figure out how to get my mouse.
Are we muted? Are we muted?
I still hear you guys.
This whole changed here. Hang on for a second. I gotta switch to there because I'm getting a bunch of echo. So let me see if I can get you to the Zoom guys now, because it's not going that way. So anyway, what kind of father hands what was probably at the time a pretty expensive video camera to a 5-year-old?
A pretty good one. Yeah, man. I mean, we talked earlier. That was like my earliest memory of video or anything like that. We were doing a school project, and I picked ducks or whatever. This is like kindergarten. Yeah, I mean, you don't have like a ton of memories as like a 4 or 5-year-old or whatever, but I can remember clear as day the exact location in the park, getting the camera on my shoulder, looking through the viewfinder, like he's holding the camera. It's one of those giant, Sears, whatever. He's holding the camera for me. But I mean, I just remember that clear as everything. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of where it all started. But yeah, happy Father's Day to him and all the other fathers out there.
So, so you kind of got the bug early, right? And
you can say that.
And how did you move from that to going professional? Did you just take it on as a hobby and then bring it to college, or?
I mean, basically, yeah. Tried other, more computer stuff and more whatever, but it kept going back to the tech world. And, through high school, I took the PowerPoint class 4 times because that's all we had. We didn't have anything TV production or video production, it was what we had. So, but then finally college, went to Middle Tennessee State, and they just have this crazy program where they have like 3 TV studios, and they have a TV truck that we go out and shoot sporting events and performances and all this. And, and then the craziest thing about that school is they have a student-run TV station that it's not just like closed circuit TV on campus. It's Comcast Channel 10 in Rutherford County, Tennessee. Who does that? That's not a good idea, honestly. But it's amazing. It's amazing for the kids, and that's where I really just jumped in and just started loving all of it. And yeah, it was just got to become a production manager by the time I was done there, and yeah, just began the networking, began learning the lessons that you've got to learn maybe learn it there, so you're not learning it at work. But most importantly, learning that, or not learning, but getting the networking that allows you to actually have a career. And I mean, I'm freelance, I'm full-time freelance, and I mean, yeah, it's all about the networking and who knows you kind of thing.
Um, so you get out of college. Where what happens next? You just became a big time video director right out
Well,
the
of course,
door.
I mean, yeah, that's how it works. You walk up and say, "Hey, I'm graduating in a month, and I want to be a director," and they just no, not at all. You've got to work your way up through. And I mean, I've honestly, as a camera op, as a director, as a TD, I mean, you can tell if someone just popped out of whatever and they're a director now, and it's like, okay, fine, but you can tell. But no, graduated, like I said, started networking and trying to take as many freelance gigs as I could take while I was still in school, and then yeah, just hit it running. Anything I could get. A lot of camera work, but a lot of utility work. Just trying to expand, into different companies, and I mean, it's really tough, because it's some kid, but you're willing to work for a little bit less, and they're willing to take a little bit of a risk on you, and it's a trade off, and yeah, you just kind of take what you can get, and the name of the game is staying in it, So, like I say, worked for a while, and even like got into some LED stuff, and it just kind of kept evolving and going.
LED, huh?
Yeah, that eventually literally my first gig
Oh,
wasn't because I knew LED. It was because I
those
had
two.
um a little bit of broadcast background, and it was doing LED for a broadcast show. So kind of started down that road, and actually took quite a few gigs doing it because it was available. They call me, and man, it's a gig. You take it, of course. Um, yeah, duh, right? But as it went along, I just, the more I did it, it was, again, it was gigs, and it was good pay, but it was like, this isn't for me, man. This just is not for me. And so finally, like, I was actually on tour with Oprah doing LED and camera op for her, and it was a great tour. I mean, incredible tour, incredible crew, the whole thing. But just that was kind of like finally my realization of, look, I gotta stop. I gotta either make myself available for actual, what I consider video production, television production gigs, or I gotta go do something else. I mean, the guys and girls who do LED are incredible at it, and it's their thing, and they love it, and they can climb mountains literally and climb back some LED wall. But I mean, it's just, I realized it's not for me. So at that point, I just said, look, I'm gonna stop taking these gigs, and let's see what happens. It was terrifying, because how do you say no to work? I mean, as a freelancer, man, how do you say no to any? You can't burn bridges. You can't. So yeah, I was like, look, I gotta do it. So calls kept coming for LED, and I didn't want to be like, I'm having a self-actualizing moment. No, none of that. I was just like, hey man, sorry, can't can't do it. Sorry, maybe next time, whatever. And it opened up my calendar, obviously, but it opened up and allowed more opportunities to come along. And fortunately, I feel like that was um, kind of me taking control a little bit, and not just saying, wherever it goes, but a little bit taking control and saying, okay, I want to move more toward the technical directing, vision mixing, I call it, because a tech director on a TV show and a tech director on a corporate show mean two different things. But the switch. basically, but and directing and multicam
Yeah.
live stuff. And a good percentage of my work is now. I still do some camera work, still do it, but a good percentage of my work is multicam directing and tech directing.
So, talk a little bit about how an actual show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a team effort. First of all, I mean, it's got to be. It's a you've got to. Sometimes it's really weird. Sometimes you'll have a client and they'll be very clear, and this is kind of what we're going for, and this is, and then you're like, okay, yeah, and then sometimes no idea, and you have to kind of hold their hand and be like, well, what I would like to do is do this, and this is how does that work, and it really depends on the client. It also depends on like the priority of video. It's kind of a spectrum, because if you're doing broadcast, man, that's it. You are the show. Everything in sight is a set piece, including the audience, and you can move them and make them shut up or make them. But like, depending on the show, it's like, oh no, well, yeah, we want a 7-camera show, but we don't want to see any cameras in the room. It's like, well, what are you talking about? It's like you feel like you're a burden even being there. But so it just depends on the show, depends on the client. But yeah, I mean, it's a process, and hopefully, in a perfect world, you're brought in beforehand, and you can kind of have some pre-show input, and at least kind of know what's coming at you. Kind of maybe say like, well, maybe we can try this, or maybe and yeah, I mean, like the show, the crazy live work. Actually, I've got it playing over my shoulder here. The thing you tech directed. I mean,
The balls.
that one, they were great. They let me in beforehand. They told me what was going on. I developed the whole camera plot, like trying to figure out where we needed everything. That's not always the case. A lot of times it's, well, here's your cameras. This is where your cameras are going. And it's like, okay, well, that's kind of part of my job is determining that, because I guarantee you when we're halfway through the show and I don't have a shot, you're going to be mad at me. And it's like, well, you told me where to put the cameras, so I can't help you. I'm sorry. But I mean, it's a balance. It's just a whole thing. And it really, again, it just depends on, their experience and your experience, and you got to kind of learn when to step in and be like, hey, I think if we could do XYZ, maybe move this over a little bit, maybe put this here, I think it would really help out. So yeah, it's a process. It definitely is, and learning, building on that, learning to pick your battles, because if you're at them constantly like, well, I really need this here and I really need this, they're gonna get sick of you, man. It's like, it's the darn video guy, go away, man, whatever. But you kind of start making a list, sometimes on paper, sometimes in your mind, and then you're like, well, let's see, what can we do here, and you're just trying to get the best show. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all on the same page, we all want the best show, and it's just a matter of balancing things out and figuring out what's important to them and what you can get away with, kind of.
Right, and how you can protect them.
Yeah,
Sometimes
absolutely.
protecting them from themselves.
Yes, yeah.
So when you're approaching a job like that, and just to kind of describe what I'm talking about to some of the other people, show with in the round with, what was it, 6 cameras?
6, yeah, I believe 6. Four long lenses, a handheld, and a jib.
Yeah, and it's in the round, and there's 400 balls with individual motors making shapes and going around, and they've got these gymnasts flying, wearing these LED suits along with it, and somehow out of that chaos, you were able to find the shapes and find the looks that they were achieving, and captured that on the record. What kind of process is that? How are you? I mean, yes, you're talking it over with the client, but you have to rehearse in your mind and be able to tell the poor schmo who's actually hitting the buttons, do this, do that, do this, do that. I was the poor schmo. What kind of organization does it take for somebody to reach that level?
Well, I mean, that show is kind of tricky because we did get to rehearse, but it was a process. I mean, these guys are rigged up and hung from the ceiling. And the counterweights are humans. I did climbing up. It was probably only to run through it. I don't know, 4 times. I want to say. So I mean, you pick out main. For me anyway. This is, you can ask other directors, and they're going to say no. For me, something like that, the high points you've got to hit. And everything else, you leave room for a little bit of creativity. I knew that I had to get, or I really wanted to get the point where they are, up in the air and they start the free fall, because that was a really dramatic moment. There was a part in the show where they actually produced the logo out of the things, and you can only get it from this one certain spot. I knew I wanted to hit that. And there were a few other points that you want to be on a wide, you want to be tight, but I mean, yeah, I mean, you kind of just run down through your notes, and if you can get it specific to like have a stopwatch, that's great. But a lot of times it's like you just kind of know, like, okay, this is next, this is next, this is next. You just kind of going through a cue sheet kind of in your head or on paper. But something like that, a performance is a little bit different than some other stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's the way I do it, man. I don't know if it's the right way or the wrong way or whatever, but
It's the right way if it's your way, right?
Say again.
It's the right way if it's your way, because that's you're the one working with you, right?
If it's stupid and it works, stupid, I guess.
So, you dabble in many different parts of the business. Give us kind of a difference between a corporate show and an entertainment show or a sports event. How do you approach those differently?
It is kind of a different atmosphere on each one. I mean, it seems like with corporate, you have to kind of go through the right channels, and the changes have to be approved, and this has to happen, and this has to happen, and that's fine. That's the way it is. You kind of have to maintain this level of calmness no matter what's happening. In sports world, you're yelling at each other and whatever, and calling, just craziness, and then that's fine after. That's the weirdness for sports for me, is like these guys do it all the time, and they're yelling, and they're just whatever, and then as soon as the game's over, all right, we're good. It's like, no, you just yelled at me, man. We got to talk about it. That's not how they operate. I don't get into that world too much, but it is a little bit different to kind of, okay, I'm in this kind of situation. Let's put on these shoes today.
Yeah, I always tell this story that when I was first kind of getting into video, I started out in audio. I had a camera gig, didn't really know what I was doing, and during performance, the director backstage yelled loud enough to where people on stage could hear him.
Oh, goodness.
I am going to come out there and I am going to break your left arm so you know which direction left is.
It happens, man.
Oh, yeah.
It absolutely happens. And in my experience, I've been yelled at a lot. And it's never made me get done whatever I'm trying to get done any faster. And I try to carry that over when I'm directing. Look, I'm assuming if we're all here, we're all wanting a good show. I'm not assuming any of us here are trying to do anything to hurt this show. If something's going wrong, as long as you're aware that there's a problem, that's all I can do, I mean, I'm going to say, hey, pan left, pan left, pan left. I'm going to repeat myself. But, yell again. Being yelled at has never got the thing done any faster. So that's kind of the mentality I try to take into it.
Yeah, yeah. So, we talk about the future. We talk about, situation we're in now. I mean, obviously everybody's staying home pretty much. Not a lot of work out there. what do you see in the future for the business? Not necessarily withstanding the pandemic, but as things kind of return to normal, do you foresee any changes that are gonna come along that the people watching need to know about, client wise, technology wise?
I mean, you kind of, I see where you're going, but like, I don't know if I don't know if there is a normal. I don't know if I don't know if it will ever be 100% the way it was. I think at least for a while, it's gonna be kind of maybe some hybrid shows to where we were already kind of doing this, where we're trying to integrate more Facebook and Twitter and all this. And it was kind of done to me on kind of a superficial level. Like, hey, somebody said something on Facebook, so now let's talk about it in the show. I don't know. It was still kind of part. To me, it seems we're gonna be more integrated where we might be having a meeting, but we're gonna be even more remote stuff, remote sites, Zoom meetings, whatever. And that's kind of what it seems like. You want to say, when we get back to normal, but man, I don't know. I mean, I know at least in it doesn't feel like it. Maybe eventually, but I think this is always something this massive will kind of always be in the back of our minds. I mean, it's like 9/11. It's kind of just always, back there. It's just something I mean, who knows the future? If someone says they've got the answers, they're lying. They don't. No one has the answers. But I mean, yeah, it's really tough to say. I mean,
well, Fox and the Golf Channel and people like that, their producers and their directors aren't on site anymore.
We were already the remote stuff. I mean, we were absolutely already headed toward that. It will just accelerate it. Where you have. I mean, honestly, I thought, well, you've got to have a TD on site, and you've got to have camera on site, and you've got to. But I mean, the way bandwidth is getting, and I mean when people say robotic cameras, they think they're goofy little, pan tilt zoom thing. But robotic cameras are getting serious, where you've got a full on, basically at the head of a tripod with arms, and you running, a full on camera. So I mean, even that stuff is kind of getting crazy. But yeah, I think that will be even accelerated more, just to keep people separated and the whole thing. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, MLB was talking about they may not have actual operators on the game surface level. That everything down there is going to have to be robos.
Yeah,
I think that'll accelerate that that technology a little bit.
Because you've got to get those. I mean, again, I say you've got to get it. I guess you don't, but I mean, if you want the quality broadcast stuff that we've been used to watching, that look, yeah, you've got to have those angles. So, but that stuff has come a long way from the old Sony Robo controller where you push it and like, it is evolving, but fortunately, it's not eliminating jobs like in mass, like we were afraid. You still require a skilled operator with the same skill set to do that. It's not a computer, like it's news, news studio automation. There's no way you can do that with sports and
exactly.
Like not happen.
Even in corporate, whenever people are like, well, let's get 5 RoboCams and we'll have an operator running them, and I was like, no, if you have 4 RoboCams, you're probably going to need at least 2 operators, probably 4.
Yeah. Do you want this shot? And I mean, I look at RoboCams as the icing on the cake, or no, not even the icing. The icing's even more important. The cherry on top, I'll say. It's great to have, but no, that's not the meat of your show. You've got to have your camera ops and your real cameras to.
Yeah, I really look at it as filling in the cracks. More than being a cherry.
Yeah, it's like, okay, there's a weird spot there that I can't cover. A robo will be good for that.
Yeah, we need a wide shot, so use the robo. So what's in the future for you? What's
not much.
I mean, have you got plans? Have you got a 10-year plan?
Keep working is a good plan. Yeah, man. I mean, we were talking about this. In corporate America, if you don't have your 5-year plan in your resume, and then you're never going to be. I don't know. I've never been a part of that world. I don't know. I have, of course, a vision of what I want to keep doing, and I mean, it's fun to work with clients over and over and getting to know them and kind of like, hey, we did this last year. How do we build on that? And adding new clients and bringing in, new ideas and new things. But it's kind of a different world than I'm going to go here and then I'm going to get this job and then I'm going to do that job. It's a little different as freelance. You're kind of drinking from a water hose at times, kind of picking stuff, but it's or drinking from a water. That wasn't the phrase. Drinking from a fire hose is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. But yeah. So that's my answer to that, man. It's tough to really know exactly what's going, but yeah.
Well, I'm gonna bring in the. I'm just gonna go ahead and bring in the guys here.
Howdy, guys.
I gotta hit buttons here. Hang on for a second. Oh, good. I just blew up my audio control. Hang on for a second.
Standing by.
Yeah. Jeez. That's the joys of having an audio console that's only run on iPad. You close the window and you can't control your audio anymore.
A little bit terrifying.
What the hell? Okay, so we got to bring the Zoom guys back into the audio now so that they can talk. And we'll bring them onto the screen as if we're all one big happy family. And this has been just not doing too. Can you guys hear us?
Yes.
Are you talking?
I can hear the guys. I can hear you.
Okay, I can't hear them. I turned them off here.
What do you do?
Okay. Yeah. So,
Do we introduce ourselves?
Yeah.
Tony, I'm Rod. I'm a camera guy.
Howdy.
Tony, I'm Steve. I'm an engineer.
Hello.
Hey.
And I'm Terrell. Yeah, I'm Terrell. Nice to meet you.
You too, man.
So, Steve, I would expect you would have some questions.
Well, I think y'all covered the state of the industry and everything. I would want to ask Tony a little bit of a historical question and see if he has some insight into this. Tony, I've noticed that as in the last decade, as we've moved from 4.3 to 16.9, that framing has gotten to be a whole lot more of a suggestion than rules. For example, that rule of thirds that was so important for all those years seems to have just kind of gone out the window. Have you noticed that? And as a director, how do you deal with that?
Yeah. And I mean, even beyond that, of one by one, because we're going to end up on Instagram, and let's do 9 by 16 because our LED walls are really tall, and yeah, it's a whole thing. And I mean, and then they get into where they're well, we're going to put this on this screen and this on this screen and this on this screen, and it gets to the point where I'm, look, guys, I can either give you 3 crappy shows or one. You take your pick. I mean, that's kind of where it gets. But yeah, I mean, specifically framing. Yeah, it's like I guess people are trying to like get a little artsy and it works. There's an edge, and if you've got to. It's because you've got to be pushing it a little bit, stay creative, but then it feels like people are falling off the edge, and you're like, well, that doesn't, that's terrible. And then like the whole thing with very much in those lines with like on the views, you'll see where the dead person like on the edge of the screen and like looking off, and it's like who did this? Like who thought? Yeah. It's like, no, it's artsy. And it's like, no, it's garbage. Like, what do you guys do? So, but yeah, I do know what you're talking about. And yeah, I mean, hopefully there's always somebody to kind of reel it back in. Hey, well, let's okay, that's one look. Let's take a look at some.
Yeah, why doesn't this look the same on the projection as it does on my phone?
Yeah, well, you held the phone wrong.
Any other questions?
I just a comment. I remember one time in my early days of being in the business, I had an engineer out, and of course everything was NTSC back then, and I had 12 or 13 monitors in my control room, and I asked my engineer, was a contract guy that came in. I asked him to make all of my monitors match. And then I went down the hall to get a drink of water or something. And I came back and he had put them all in black and white except for one.
Well,
they matched.
You got to be specific.
He's not wrong. I mean, he is wrong, but he's not wrong. Yeah.
Well, I think his point was they were never going to match.
It's kind of a weird thing, and I mean, it's kind of weird because I came in, just on the tail end of the analog stuff, and I mean, I feel fortunate that I got to play around in an old studio that was, all the analog stuff, because I have a little bit of that background now. I mean, it's not, I'm not going to go in and adjust subcarriers and all that, but I have the idea of that stuff existing. Because I mean, nowadays, people are like, oh, well, I plugged in the cable to the thing and it didn't work, and why not? It's supposed to just work. Like, so it's kind of a lost,
yeah,
kind of scary that part of it's kind of getting lost.
What do you mean time the system?
Yeah, right. Well, I don't know, right, Purple? What are you talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah, I always wondered what that Genlock thing was.
Man, the best prank ever is ask the PA to go get the keys to the Genlock.
Tony, what sport have you done the most cameras with?
Like I say, I don't do a ton. I do the in-house for the Tennessee Titans, tech direct for that. So not really.
That's pretty big. That's pretty big.
Well, I mean, honestly, that show to me is more stressful than the broadcast side, because the broadcast guys get to take breaks. We don't take breaks. We shoot the game. We're required. I think they kind of eased back. For a season or two, we were absolutely required to replay every play, no matter if it was a significant play or if they were in hurry up or whatever. And then when broadcast goes to break, we do some on-field promotion thing. I mean, that show just crazy. It's like I said, it's kind of calmed down a little bit, but yeah. I mean,
how many cameras do you run?
On that one, we have, let's see, 3 long lenses. We have a wireless steady, which is really great. We have 2 wireless handhelds. And then that's just for the primary show. But then for replay, we actually take in the 12 or 14 truck cameras for the broadcast side. So the replay world on that is its own world, because they've got our 7 or 8 cameras to look at, but then also theirs to kind of get the angle that's needed for the time up really quick. So it's a pretty big operation, and like I say, I think it's more stressful than the broadcast side of things.
I've had the opportunity to work the Fort Worth Stock Show Rodeo last 5 years. Steve worked it some this year too. We changed facilities. We had 19 cameras this year. We had a wire cam for the first time.
A wire cam.
A wire cam
at the rodeo.
Yes, sir, we did. Yeah.
Wow.
Awesome.
RoboCams, a whole lot of RoboCams on the big blimp inside Dickies.
Oh, nice.
They couldn't zoom in much, so they look like security camera shots a lot.
Yeah. Fun to have though.
I think we covered it better with 4 or 5 cameras back in the old building sometimes.
Absolutely.
It was an
I see
interesting
where
experience, to say the
you're
least.
going with that. Of like, I've been watching, I'll watch a show on TV, and kind of one of those mental exercises. You kind of try to figure out, like, hey, how many cameras do you think it took to cover the show? And I was watching one. It wasn't even a big event. It was like some weird, I don't know, some weird show or something. And it was taking place in a small arena. And I mean, I lost count. I was like, there's a camera anywhere you could possibly put a camera. Like, how could you not have it covered? I mean, it was really crazy because I thought, well, I'd probably do one. And I was like, well, they've got one there too. Well, no. And it's all like long lenses too. It's not just, I mean, it's full on builds. It's like, there's got to be 20 something cameras on this little show. It's kind of weird because it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you're gonna get it, I guess, but you spent a lot of money to do it.
Okay, so Terrell, how's all this stuff associate with your business? I mean, you're out there, one manning this stuff.
What do you do, Terrell? What is your business?
What do I do? Well, the name of my company is Metroplex Mobile Studio, and I basically am a just a one-man operation, mobile broadcast studio here in the Dallas Metroplex area. I am a fan of the data video, so my world is kind of surrounded there with regards to my broadcast switcher, my encoder, and right now it seems to be working pretty well. Anywhere I can set up. The main thing I need is power and internet.
What kind of switcher do you have?
I'm using the HS2200, the data video HS2200.
I had the HSE 800, I think, with the bar across it and the 4 little monitors.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, mine is the whole little case, and
it's got the built-in multi-view.
Yes, it has a built-in multi-view. Absolutely. So I do a lot of what I've been doing now since I've had to get creative is dealing with a lot of churches who's streaming, those small corporate people who want to, talk to their employees, what's next for the company and things like that. So even though things did slow down tremendously, I was able to kind of find some other avenues to kind of help me stay afloat while we figure these things out.
So you're taking your feed out of your switcher into a laptop to go to the internet?
No, my encoder. I just come out of the switcher into my encoder.
Hardware encoder?
What I need from my clients, well, I'm sure everyone knows, but it's a URL and a stream key. So once I type in the URL and stream key, I'm pretty much good to go, So it's small, but it's good.
So Tony, I think we've kind of talked about this in other discussions, but what do you see in the future in terms of just about every one of these shows having a stream desk?
Man,
that was my question. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was that Terrell or me?
That was Terrell. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. The question was for you.
Oh, okay. Well, no, man. It sounds like you're because streaming is it right now. Everyone is trying to do it. They're realizing that it's not as easy as they think. And they go out and try to find maybe a giant TV truck or whatever and realize, oh, wait, that's not realistic. But you have found a niche that's like, hey, we can call this guy. He comes in. He's a pro. Yeah, that. So, I mean, it sounds like you are in a really good spot for all, like you say, for these guys who are realizing, hey, we need to stream. We should have been doing this already. We don't know how to do it. There you are. That's pretty cool.
Sorry. Go ahead, Terrell.
Well, I was going to ask him. I mean, how lucrative does he find that in his world? I mean, is that something that's growing as a part of his technical, responsibility, or have you not been
Definitely. I mean,
interested?
I think full and again, it's hard to kind of, but I think they were realizing like, hey, we're already doing this show. Why would we not make it accessible to where we don't? I mean, you think about it. Your services are a lot cheaper flying in and paying for hotel rooms and paying for attendance and paying for like. There's a ton of value to a client in that. So yeah, and I mean, COVID has just again accelerated it. Where it's like, well, now we're moving to conferences, full-on, like rent out a hotel room, rent out a ballroom, load in a full-on conference is moving to exclusively a stream. And I think we'll see a lot more of that. So yeah, I think if you get, people are aware of your services, and I think you're in a good spot. It's like
Actually, I think it's going to be like a new graphics op kind of position. You're going to be the guy that walks in with a couple of computers, not really involved in the rest of the build of the show,
yeah.
Walk in, set your stuff down.
Last in, first out.
Yep.
The last
busy.
in first.
Yep, busy.
The new white glove box.
Exactly. Yeah, and you're going to be busy, doing your speed checks and all this kind of stuff, but I really think it's going to turn into an additional position. It's going to take up a 6-footer backstage. And just about all of these corporate shows, at least for the next couple of years, because I don't think any corporations are going to put their CEOs, CFOs, or sales guys, sales guys that are making millions of dollars. I don't think they're going to put any of those people on airplanes. So even if we got a room full with 250 attendees. 2 years from now, I still think there's going to be a 6-foot table back there for streaming.
I don't argue that, but I don't see that flying is a more difficult thing for them to beat with COVID than it is to get everybody in a big room. It seems to me everybody in a big room is a bigger hurdle. Oh yeah, and
there's no replacement for the handshake, right? There's no replacement for face-to-face, especially the sales kickoffs in January, or whenever that particular corporation's calendar begins.
Right. Fiscal year.
Yes. The sales meetings are gonna have to happen, and they're gonna have to be, flesh on flesh. But I still think in 2 years, after there's a cure, and there's and everybody's buddy, sitting there arm in arm in the ballroom, back to being able to pack 800 people in the Crystal Ballroom. I still think there's going to be a 6-foot table back there streaming. I
can see that.
I think that it's always going to be a part of that, and I think Terrell is going to be one of those guys who's going to walk in with his white gloves, sit down, and get the URL and get the various URLs, because it's probably going to be more than one destination on a lot of these things. Just drop it into Restream and go 8 different directions. But Tony, it just becomes another thing for the video director to have to think about now, because you've got a frame for something else now.
Absolutely.
Because we're gonna do
iMac
Yeah.
and web streamer, two very different shows. So
Yep. And and we're gonna frame like this too. We're gonna have this frame.
yeah.
For the output. You're gonna have this Yeah.
Yeah. And why does it look right on the web? Because you made me frame it for this.
Maybe if somebody out there like a Rick McGill is listening, maybe the new box is the multi-frame box, and you put one in between each the camera and the switcher, and it gives the switcher 4 different frames on the same camera.
And they do make I'm glad you said that. There is a box out here that does that right now. it takes a 4K. Yeah, no, it's a data video. Makes a box. It takes a 4K image, of course, because 1080 would deteriorate, but 4K, and it'll give you 4 different shots of one camera shot, like a 3/4 shot, a head shot, full length. But
it also gives you like a RoboCam type controller where you can move your 1080 frame around that 4K palette. I guess this would be a right word, huh?
Absolutely.
So on a wide shot of a panel and a speaker, you could just have one camera and have the wide shot and have a close up of the speaker and then have a close up of each panel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty crazy, huh?
That's cool.
So Tony, how do you direct one camera operator out there with that?
Sometimes when I only have one camera operator, I think they're the director. I mean, it's like I can tell you to follow the person, but come on now. Yeah, it's just one of those things of like how another puzzle you have to work through of okay, what do I call this? Do I call this 1A or one preset 2? Somehow to figure out a quick way to say I want this camera pointed at this thing. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge, I guess.
So Tony, do you have any shows that you've produced that we can find on YouTube or anything of that nature, or more stuff?
Yeah, I mean, a fair amount of work is like internal corporate stuff. I've got some stuff on my website. You can go on there and check out some of the cool stuff I've done. Stuff that I think was cool. I don't know if anyone else will. Yeah, we just it is kind of weird because you kind of people try to build a reel or whatever. So much of my stuff just goes like away the live football games. It's like how do you it's just kind of gone. It was recorded somewhere, but it was for the fans. Yeah, my website holtvideo.com has some stuff you can check out.
Holtvideo.com?
Yeah.
Holtvideo.com.
Well, we'll put that in the comments later on once this thing is available as a on-demand video. That way people can hook up, and we'll also get Terrell's website and Steve's website, and I'll put my website. Hey, we'll put all our websites up there.
On there.
Well, I'm gonna ask the guys any final questions.
I look forward to working with you sometime, Tony. That's all.
You too. I'm down in Dallas ever often. So, are you all you guys in Dallas?
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Good. Expand the network. Just like that.
I'm in Dallas, so I mainly know Dallas people, but I know a few Nashville folk. All right. Gonna go ahead and see if my switcher will allow me. No, it's not gonna. Yeah, there we go. And we're gonna go like that, and we're gonna do this. Technical fun, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna go back and figure out what I need to do to keep these darn MacBook's cool because it's
You
causing
got a fan?
little problem. Well, I got a jug full of ice water underneath it, but we're gonna end this show now. Be sure and click that subscribe button down below if you like what you're watching. Hit that notify button. That way you'll know that the next show is coming up. We're going to do this again Thursday night, 7 p.m. Central. We're going to have, I think, Jeff Califas, but I still haven't gotten a confirmation yet. Jeff is a technical director over in Arizona. He's one of these guys that is in charge of these huge shows and has a million different clients that he has to answer to, and we're gonna find out what that lifestyle's like. That's Thursday, 7 p.m. Central on that channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, and if you're not a father, well, give it a whirl. Who knows? Thank you very much. We're gonna sign out with our usual sign out song, and I'll see if I can get this all to work.
Song?
And thank you very much, and have a great day.